This demonstration is how to add highlights and shadows to the base color of your shell. So I'm recording this just because, you know, with swim meets and absences, there's a lot of people out. So everything that I teach that's new, I'm going to try to put on YouTube so people can finish this project this week at home, in the beginning of next week at home. Once you're at this point with your shell, it's drawn on your final paper, and your base color is colored in. Take a look back at this handout that is entitled Art Survey Shell and Colored Pencil, and we have completed step number 1, which is to apply the base color. Step number 2 is to create a shade on the shell, and it says to accomplish this, blend the cool complementary color of the undercolor, not of your shell colors, but of the undercolor that you used, with your first layer of color on your shell. Don't use dark gray and black unless your shell is white. So, in other words, the complementary, or the opposite of white, of course, is black. So, on a shell that looks like this, it's if you were to use white for your undercolor, you would use gray and black for shading. If you were to use like a tan for your undercolor, what would you do? You wouldn't use black or gray. You'd take your pencil up to the color wheel, or identify what color your pencil color most looks like, and look at the color wheel and find the opposite color. Okay? Pink is a pastel version of green. The ochre is very close to yellow. There's like a orange type peach. You know, look and see what color your color on the color wheel is most identified with, and your shade color on your shell is going to be the opposite. But you can't put it straight in there. You have to apply it a certain way, or it's going to look really blotchy. So, if you take a look at the handout that I gave you, look at all the blue on that shell. It reads as shade color, but if you really look at that color, it's blue, because it's the color of the shell minus the light, which is the opposite, right? So that's why that looks the way it is. Why don't we use black for shadow and white for highlights? Well, if you mix white with a base color, instead of showing bright, like a warm light color, you get a pastel. And that doesn't really create the illusion of light. If you just use a black for a shade color, it kind of flattens out your shell, and you lose the dimensionality. So you don't want to do that either. So, I'm going to demonstrate how to apply your shade color first, and then I'll demonstrate how to apply your light color. Once you've identified your shade color, you want to set up your shell in front of you with the spotlights on, and if you're not here for this, you hopefully took a picture of your shell with the full range of values. And remember, our objective is to create the illusion of a three-dimensional form on a flat page. I'm seeing my highlight is in this area, and it gets really dark over here. So this is where the directional lines come in real handy. So very, very lightly, making sure my pencil is very sharp. I'm going to start to just blend in that shade color where I see it. And Gavin, can you hand back these shells?
Yeah.
Thanks, because I realized that I don't really need them. I'm not going to press harder where my shade is darker, then it'll look bright green. That's a common mistake. You don't want to do that. Thanks. So I'm very, very lightly working in the color. And then you're going to go back to your base color and mix them together. Two complementary colors blended together make a colorful gray. So in the end, what happens is instead of, you know, a flat black that doesn't even look like it's part of your shell, you get the illusion of darkness. Now, this is the shell that I'm looking at. Obviously, there's a lot of orange on top of the pink, but I'm not going to put that in yet. What I want to do first is lay out my values. So I want to really figure out where all my values are and have them on there first. And then, once I've created that illusion of a three-dimensional object on a flat page by doing that, then I put, in this case, the orange on top. Or if you have a conch shell, your brown growth lines, all of that stuff. Once you get to, you know, like the brown growth lines, on top of those lines, or in the dark areas of those lines, you can put black. Okay? Because to go darker with brown, that's what you would want to do. So you're going to slowly build up the color, just like this. And I'm seeing that my highlighted area is up here. I'm going a little bit quickly, just so you don't have to watch a real long video. And I'm trying to kind of eliminate the need of line. Directional lines are very important. See how it's starting to pop off the page? Now on this shell, I do have some black lines here. So, I can put some black in there. But I'm just really going to put it in the dark areas, not the whole thing. So, see how this is really beginning to turn in space? Now in some cases, when you bring your base color to the color wheel, you might see that it's like a blue-violet that you need. Feel free to like mix more than one shade color. It'll just add richness. There. Now I've got my shadow. Check it out. That is definitely creating an illusion of a three-dimensional shell on a flat page. Now, I want to create the illusion of highlight. So I'm going to blend in some yellow. How did I pick yellow? You're going to blend in a sun color or a warm color to create the illusion of light. If I was to blend in white, I would just get a pastel. Plus, what do the people do when they have a white shell? You can't go whiter than white, so you put in a sun color. If your shell has brown in it, and that's like the undertone of your shell, I think there's at least one shell that the undercolor is brown. Feel free to mix in some red for your warm highlight color. If your shell is, say, like a tan or a lighter color, most likely you're just going to mix in some yellow and put it in the highlighted areas to really make your shell pop. Okay? So that's the first step. We'll talk about all of the decoration or stripes or details on the shell for the next demonstration. Okay? That's it.